Hi everyone, this is Leili from Blunt Strategies, and I'm joined today by Jason Tarasek from Minnesota Cannabis Law. And he's going to give us some more information about a lawsuit that you may have seen covered on NPR. It was in the Star Tribune. It's kind of the big buzz in the hemp world right now. Thanks so much for joining us, Jason.
Thanks for having me, Leili.
Why don't you first tell me a little bit about Minnesota Cannabis Law?
Sure. So Minnesota Cannabis Law is a law firm dedicated to serving the hemp industry and the CBD industry. It has evolved seemingly overnight. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of companies in that space right now, and we take pride in offering our services to them.
Yeah, so you're right that hemp kind of has exploded. We didn't even have an industrial hemp program. What happened that created a hemp industry first in Minnesota?
So the changes first started at the federal level, of course. The 2014 Farm Bill got the ball rolling. It directed the states to start to think about allowing industrial hemp, which is related to marijuana, but of course doesn't have the THC in such levels that you could actually smoke it and have any sort of recreational high from it. But then in 2018, a second farm bill was passed that really sort of accelerated things. It allowed industrial hemp to be processed into things like CBD. So that is really what's contributing to the explosion in the market right now. It's hard to go anywhere without seeing a CBD product on the shelf.
And we have a pilot program here in Minnesota, right? Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so in reaction to what the federal government was doing, the Minnesota legislature passed a statute, I guess it's a little more than a year ago now, to establish a pilot program that would authorize people throughout Minnesota to grow industrial hemp. And so, like I said, there are dozens of farmers throughout the state now growing that and turning into CBD products, this cannabidiol product, which is increasingly becoming a health and wellness product.
And so your client is bringing a suit against the Department of Agriculture. Why don't you tell us a bit about the
Sure.
situation?
So I represent a hemp farmer in Lanesboro, Minnesota. He's been operating under the Minnesota Department of Agriculture license to both grow hemp and process it into CBD. He has passed at least 2 tests by the Department of Agriculture. They've come out to test his crops, and it is considered industrial hemp so long as it's at 0.3% THC or lower. So just a minuscule amount of THC, certainly not enough to get anyone high. And like I said, he has passed both tests, but recently there was a law enforcement stop where one of his products was seized apparently by law enforcement and subsequently tested, and it tested too high for THC. And on that basis, the Department of Agriculture has threatened to pull my client's license and directed him to destroy his crop, which might be worth several $1 million.
So the Department of Ag is working not based off of the results of their own testing, but based off the results of law enforcement's testing subsequent to a traffic stop that they made of somebody else?
Yeah, so it's been a frustrating process for us. We can't get a lot of information about what exactly happened at the traffic stop or what exactly was seized or where it was tested, but as far as we know, it seems like the Fillmore County Sheriff's Office made a traffic stop, seized something, sent it off to a lab, and that lab tested it and determined that it tested too high for THC. So part of our frustration, I guess, is that we haven't been able to see any of that evidence. We don't know what was tested, who tested it, or anything like that. And the lawsuit just asks for due process, really. We just want our opportunity to see the evidence presented against us and to have a chance to challenge it if we think there may be flaws in the way it was gathered.
What has the reaction of the broader hemp community, other hemp farmers, the sort of growing cannabis industry here in Minnesota, what's the reaction been?
Well, it's a small community and everyone knows about this, and people are terrified. I mean, my client has dedicated his life savings to this new venture, and he's literally poured his sweat into this crop, and it's terrifying for him, and it's terrifying for other people who are trying to follow the law. And if they see that it's so easy for the Department of Agriculture to revoke Luis's license, then they don't know if they're the next ones. And so it's a test case of sorts where everyone's watching this and hoping for some guidance from the government, and at least that, again, that some sort of due process is allowed when you're faced with this situation.
Well, thanks so much, Jason, for all this information, and we look forward, and hopefully we can have you back to give us some more information on the case as it goes through the process. We'd love to have you back and learn more.
Thank you for your interest.
And we'll be sure to provide some information on our website. We'll put some links up to those articles covering the case. We'll include a link to the complaint and any updates that come along the way. Thanks everyone for watching.